Hey everyone, today I'm going to have a look at Skull and Bones on the ROG Ally and Legion Go. This is currently in closed beta and I'm pleased to say that they've actually turned around the game. It's actually quite good fun now, although the islands are still a bit of a mess. Now, overall, the performance on both these devices has been very surprising and this is an extremely good looking game. But the way I'm going to actually recommend playing this on both devices is to go with medium at 30 watts. And 800p on the Go and 720 on the ROG Ally, but with the medium graphics and no FSR enabled. So this is with TAA at native and it looks absolutely phenomenal. It will bounce between 40 and 60, especially out in big sea battles, and on the island, no matter really what settings you're going to bounce between 30 and 50 frames per second, which we'll see in a little while. But I definitely find that medium at 30 watts is an absolutely phenomenal way to play this game. So if you are able to play on power, then that is definitely the best way. However, you can play this on the low with the FSR 2 on quality at 25 watts at 1200p quite happily. And again, out on the sea, you're going to get around 40 to 60 frames per second. And it is an absolutely gorgeous game. Now you can push this at 30 watts to get a little bit better, close to that 60 frames per second at 1200p. But the BIOS still seems to have a small bug in it, where pushing the custom 30 watts still drops down to 25 watts on occasion, and if you don't notice like I didn't, then you will need to bump it back up again, otherwise you will sit at 25 watts. Overall though, the Legion Go is performing exceptionally well at 1200p and that screen is just absolutely gorgeous with the HDR in this game, so it is a great way to play. On the island though, and you'll see this on both devices, no matter what settings really we get, you're never going to get more than 30 to 50 frames per second, and it gets some heavy dips quite often into the 30 frames per second. The islands are really badly optimized, and I've seen this across a lot of the devices, and no matter how high we push or how low we push those settings, we still dip into the 30s quite often. That's the Legion Go. Over to the ROG Ally, starting with 1080p at 30 watts with the FSR 2 on quality, keeping those low settings as well. And again, we'll see out on the water, we're getting that 40 to 60 frames per second depending on what's going on, and again it does look absolutely phenomenal on the screen. Island wise though, as we see again, there we get a few frames per second higher here and there. Most of the time we're still bouncing between that 30 and 50 mark, even with the full 30 watts here at 1080p. And I'll show you this at night time at 720p on the Ally as well, and you'll see we get pretty much the same. Out on the water though, at 30 watts we are pushing 60, a little bit better than we were on the Legion Go, but then we are running at 30, not 25 watts here, and at 1080p, not 1200p. But still fantastic performance, CPU being massively underutilized, and I do have the CPU boost disabled, so we can get a little bit more on the GPU side. So there definitely still needs to be some more balancing to this game, and I forgot to mention that both of these are running at 6 gig of VRAM, because even with the low settings, it's pushing 4 gig of VRAM in this game. The Ally is still able to push 720 at 15 watts though, so if you are out and about on battery, you're going to get around 40 to 60 frames per second on shore. You'll see that it does handle it a lot better at that lower resolution on the islands, and out at sea we'll get much closer to 50-60 frames per second at 720, but keeping that FSR on quality. But as I said, if you do want to actually play this and you are on power, you'll be better off putting this on the medium with no FSR at all, which will push you down to around 40 to 50 frames per second a lot of the time, but you don't need that 60 frames per second in this one, but you do want to have that graphic fidelity. Let us know which device you're going to be playing on and whether you're going to be picking up Skull and Bones after you've seen some more of the footage to see whether sea battles are your thing. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.